two things. One of the good things is that children do get frightened by like quiet voices because they think, oh my gosh, I'm in trouble. Whereas when you shout at them, they just get even more angry. They just get angry.
I think it's all just like betraying the trust, like she's betraying him at that point, and it's like you do that to a child, you're almost like deceiving the innocence of a child, and
also kids shout at each other. It's not unusual. Yeah. You're right. It's that quiet anger that's scarier because that's not the way kids express it.
And it's horrible when she like says no, and then like she closes her eyes and smiles, and he's and like Scander's like taken aback, and then he's like a dog. He immediately forgives her.
Actually, go there with me.
Yeah, no, because all throughout that scene, she's sort of acting and probing and trying to figure out his weaknesses and how can she lure all the children in. And then when she drops her gun, she gets angry, and it's like the one moment.
This was a weird scene to film because he spent the whole day in our pajamas.
He did. It was also one of the... we shot this... look at Scander. Look at that baby face very early on.
I think this time cut ain't very good, really. Because no, seriously, because I'm like perfectly straight faced, but like twitching as if I'm going to cry. And then suddenly I've got this screwed up, horrible, ugly...
Well, that was hard. That was the first time in the movie. This was one of the first scenes we shot, and it was the first time I had to get you to cry.
You children are one shenanigan shy of sleeping in the stable. Professor, I'm sorry. I told them you were not to be disturbed.
It's all right, Mrs. McCready. I'm sure there's an explanation. But first of all, I think this one is in need of a little hot chocolate.
Come along, dear.
You seem to have upset the delicate internal balance of my housekeeper.
We're very sorry, sir. It won't happen again.
It's our sister, sir. Lucy.
The weeping girl.
Yes, sir. She's upset.
Hence the weeping.
It's nothing. We can handle it.
Oh, I can see that.
She thinks she's found a magical land. In the upstairs... Jim Broadbent was so cool and so good in it, but I found this scene really challenging.
Really?
I never met him, really.
Do you remember? I couldn't get it right for ages.
Well, it's a strange scene because it stands alone from just about any other scene in the movie. It's not a scene that's just about, the kids. It's actually a different character, and it's a new character in the story. It's like we haven't met the professor before. We don't know who he is. He's giving a lot of sort of, advice and so on, and it's really the only scene that you're dealing with an adult in some ways.
Yeah,
totally.
And I remember the tension between Peter and Susan William improving in it.
That's what you didn't like about it.
That was Anna's end of improv.
I hated arguing with William.
Well, that was my favourite bit when at one stage you said, oh, shut up, I'm much smarter than you are.
And I was like, what?
Was that improv or was
I
that
was
real?
in character.
Well, we're very similar to our characters, and so in improvising, there's always going to be an element of truth.
I just remember after that point, Anna was like, I don't want to do improv anymore.
I remember that was Anna's improv at the end of Anna's improvisational getting into
I think
the
it was,
scene.
oh, please.
The crowd goes quiet as Pevensey steps up to the crease. Peter winds up, poised to take yet another...
Oh, that's really hot when he hit me.
I know, that was actually, obviously, we wanted him to hit you, but we didn't expect him to really hit you.
Of course I was going to hit him.
And it's so funny because Andrew thought that I was incapable of playing cricket, and
But
didn't
you are.
think because he didn't think that I could actually hit the ball.
You couldn't.
I did.
You actually couldn't.
Okay. So in the beginning, they was using the ball and a proper cricket ball, and they said, "Scanner, don't hit the ball. We, not now. We can't be able to go fetch it." And yeah, just let it go pie. And then so a couple of rehearsals later, I go, Andrew, can I hit the ball? He goes, yeah, sure. And he didn't think I could hit it.
Thinking he'd never actually hit it.
So I smash it into one of the lighting things.
I was actually quite impressed by
and
that.
KC, that he goes, Scander! And he comes running, like, Scander, you can't do that, like security things. So that dude's a rubber ball that bounced really annoyingly.
I think it's really nice, though, the relief in that scene, because everything up to that moment's been quite intense. We haven't really had much fun. And there's that scene where it's outdoor and there's sunshine, and Georgie's sitting over the thing, which is kind of sad.
I'm on my own. I'm neglected. I'm actually feeling sad.
But I think also for you, it was like your first chance to actually do something physical.
Exactly, and I love that kind of thing.
It was So
He's a very
funny.
macho
I've been
man.
deeply criticised by my family for that scene because when they saw pictures of me wicket keeping, they're all cricketers. And apparently, I just look like, you know, if a ball came anywhere near me, it would never get into my hand.
Come on! You've got to be joking.
Get back!
I'm not on your show!
You stop shoving!
Impossible.
Don't worry. I'm sure it's just your imagination.
What was fun about this next bit is there were two things that didn't happen deliberately. That who knew that Georgie's aim would be so good? And then who knew that William's aim would be so good? And this was actually going to be a great outtake, and it made it into the film. That was real.
And
But-
Georgie really wasn't expecting that one, was she?
No.
Why did you make it from like an outtake to a?
Just because it's funny and it's appropriate. You're having a snowball fight. Of course, what we had to cut out was you cleaning all that paper stuff out of your nose and eyes and mouth afterwards, because I think you ate a lot of it.
I hated the paper stuff.
Oh, no, it was the days and days of taking home loads of it up my nose that I hated.
When stop pretending.
Very funny. Maybe we should go back.
Shouldn't we at least take a look around?
I think also it was so funny because in order to stop the kind of the dust going up your nose, people were walking around set in these kind of surgeon's masks. So it's really bizarre because you just walk onto set and everyone looked like they were about to go into theatre or something.
I tried to make it a policy not to wear one, mainly because you guys
I'm
couldn't.
sure the professor wouldn't mind us using these. Anyway, if you think about it logically, we're not even taking them out of the wardrobe.
But that's a girl's coat.
I know.
This is the coolest coat ever, even though I don't actually like it, of course.
I think Scander, you're supposed to hate this coat, but the fact is he loves it.
Look at that coat.
He
You
loves
cannot
it.
deny the fact that that looks cool.
It's a pregnant woman's coat.
It's cool.
You look like a pregnant woman in it.
I look like a gangster in it.
Yeah, but it just wanted to make you hug him more, didn't it?
Yeah.
And Skander enjoyed our hugs so much.
Yeah,
No.
he loves being hugged.
He really does. If anyone,
No.
listening to this disc sees Skander in the street, just know that he loves a good
no,
hug.
I do not.
Here we are in the Czech Republic again.
That actually really hurt when I hit my leg
I
at
know,
that point.
you landed on a
Really.
bit of wood or something
It
in the
was
snow there.
really, really hurt. It was a sharp bit of wood.
That's why that
Republic.
smile that you have in that shot, you're like going, ha ha ha, and this forced
This is
smile because you're in
painful.
agony.
I need to get my leg amputated.
It's
It was
called
so cold.
acting.
It was so cold.
It's called acting.
Look how pink my hands are. It was so cold.
Well, we're back in set in Auckland again now.
Oh, okay then. Wasn't that cold?
In the Czech Republic, Anna's hand started to like turn blue, and she was like, "William!" And William was like, Anna, and he stuffed both of his hands into her arm. It was like,
no.
I just couldn't believe it because Anna gets cold hands anyway. Whether it's the 100 degrees of heat, Anna will still have cold hands.
Yeah, she's got bad circulation.
And we were in
granny, but
and we were in Czech Republic and we were running up this hill and I said to Anna, and she turned around, she said, William. I was like, I saw her hands. They were literally blue. I just shoved them underneath my armpits.
Scanner didn't feel the cold at all, actually.
In Czech Republic, everyone else was in the massive heaters, like like fat coats. I actually took off my coat. I was too hot in it, and I was like running in the snow, and I actually started sweating.
I think it was the amount of sugar.
That shot took so long to set up, because the thing was like drifting over and William's head was in the way.
William couldn't stand still for long enough to get focus.
Yeah.
Apparently, William always moving. William's always moving.
In a constant motion.
See, I feel like I'm in a V-neck top there.
Yeah,
it looks very modern.
Me too.
It looks very modern. It looks very modern.
Isis will not be happy that you said that.
The Isi that we're referring to, or Isis, is Isi Masenden, the costume designer.
That was a CGI bird, just to let everyone know.
Actually, it wasn't. It was a blue screen bird.
But the thing is that we did actually have birds in that studio.
Yeah, no,
I know. That's
and then you
right.
put the hawk in.
Andrew wanted to shoot them.
You were gonna put the hawk in,
and they
but
put
then
explosives to scare them away.
I would like to point out that no birds were hurt in the making of this movie.
They weren't hurt.
There's actually a great story about that though, because
Casey was like, "Get the hawks in, and Andrew's like, and I was like, "No, we don't want to hurt the pretty little birds." And Andrew was like, "Well, maybe we could scare them away with noise."
We did try doing that because they were tweeting all the way through the takes and ruining takes. So this was actually one of the first scenes that really involved a lot of acting with CG characters or non-existent characters, and I realized that was going to be fairly challenging for you kids. And I did sort of a technique that I do a lot with animation, which is to actually provide the off-screen dialogue or the off-camera dialogue. In this case, it wasn't always off-camera. I had to be on camera sometimes and digitally removed. But I thought that the best way to actually direct you for this was to actually kind of sit down opposite and play the other characters. And so I ended up doing that with my assistant Alina playing Mrs. Beaver, and I would play Mr. Beaver.
The beavers are my favourite characters, actually.
Really?
I really love them just because they're so funny, and I think although reading the script they read as funny characters, like I didn't really kind of realise how funny they were going to be until I saw the movie.
Again, I think they preserved relief for the film. There's so much relief in the beavers. And so, I just want to follow them, and let's just have some more.
Well, part of it was also just to kind of get you used to the idea of talking animals, and the idea that they're characters, people that you like, helps you get used to the fact that it's a small animal talking to you, and then as the movie unfolds, there's more and more of them. But Ray and Dawn were fantastic. They've played a married couple before as well. Although
Have they?
Yes, but not beavers. I don't think either of them had played beavers before.
Come on, we don't want to be caught out here after nightfall. Looks like the old girl's got the kettle on. Nice cup of rosy Lee.
It's lovely.
Now it's merely a trifle, Still plenty to do, ain't quite finished it yet. It'll look a business when it is, though.
Hey, look out, it's icy there.
And here we are, then.
That was like the paradise for thoughts, remember?
That's right, where you build a big snow fort.
When we used to get to set with those, we had to get on a jet ski.
Yeah,
not a jet ski, a skidoo.
Oh, and then me and Will would
fun.
collect snowballs, and as we would go, we would lob them at people.
At Stoya,
and yeah, we got
the
we got KC.
producers.
We got KC so much, he got so annoyed.
This was your favourite scene to shoot, wasn't it, Anna?
Yeah, this is my favourite scene to shoot because we'd been doing so many being scared scenes and running away scenes, and then we had to do a scene where we had to laugh, and Andrew was crouched down as Mr. Beaver or Mrs. Beaver.
I think what I finally did to make you crack up was I was Mrs. Beaver and Alina was Mr. Beaver.
Oh right, yeah, and it was so funny.
It was so bad for me because I had to keep a straight face for the entire thing, and I ruined so many takes by
I think
laughing.
it was the "you're blind, young man."
Yeah,
That's what
it was
you
definitely "you're blind, young man."
Enjoying the scenery, are we?
Isn't there anything we can do to help Tumnus?
They'd have taken him to the witch's house. And you know what they say? There's few that go through them gates that come out again.
Fish and chips. But there is hope, dear. Lots of hope.
Georgie, it looks as though you've been asked to eat sardines in that shot. Just the look of disgust when you're presented with those fish and chips.
The thing is,
I love his sort of beer mug, which is probably we're not going to see it again. But
this scene was hard to shoot because of how small the set was.
It was tiny.
Oh yeah,
wasn't
I had to be crouched down.
That was amazing though. I loved this scene just because of like the detail Roger Ford had put into it, you know. Like a lot of the times I think with these sets they were created for us as much for the audience, you know, just to keep us, you know, really in there and just to keep us interested. And like Mrs. Beaver has a whole knitting set, you know, right in the corners which you never really see.
Yeah, it's all in there. It's sort of the texture that gives it the reality.
Yeah.
And you're right, we built everything to the scale of the beavers, because we really tried to approach it as how would the beavers live, how would they build things.
They had a little bunk up top, didn't they?
Yeah.
They did, yeah.
I was always going up there because I got really bored just sitting there.
That's right,
And,
you had to sit there on the stairs for
So I
a
just
long time.
walked up and I like broke through one of the boards.
I remember when we were doing a rehearsal and I started to eat a pencil.
Why?
I thought I was
turning into a beaver.
I thought I was meant because they did like the fish and chips joke, and because it was a rehearsal, they just put down like you know, a pencil.
Right.
And like some sharpenings, and I thought that I had to like look like I was eating the pencil, but then I actually started, and on the pencil it tasted quite good, so I started to like gnaw on the pencil and eat the pencil.
must have been playing
That's
the
a
wrong
lovely
character.
story, Georgie.
No, Georgie's was.
I think what's really nice about these scenes is like there's always like a little push in. Do you know what I mean? Like just like the dramatic moment, you just push in just a tiny bit, and it just like emphasizes, you know, what's going on right at that moment.
I love the Aslan sweep as well, when you like the word Aslan and then you see everyone's reaction
Yeah, I mean,
to it.
Tristan, what were each of you thinking at that moment? Because I think I was telling you just to that the word was really special and it made you feel a certain way. And I know in the book it says like Lucy felt like she felt on the first day of summer holidays. But what were you all thinking? Do you remember, Georgie?
I was thinking. Someone else go first.
I was thinking of a drink full of caffeine.
Well, I wasn't. I was thinking. I just remember feeling it. Like that's a lot of the times. Like Andrew, you know, you're told what's going on, you know, right at that moment, and so you actually feel it. You don't really see anything. You don't really think about anything. You just kind of feel that maybe even sometimes it's a weight, or sometimes it's like a happiness. It's like it's different.
Oh no! In this bit, I remember because Will then the others had to climb up. I think that's been cut. And then, as I went up, the snow was really thick. And then when they went up, Will said this. He had quote, "I never thought I'd say this, but Skander actually made it look easy walking up that hill."
I never thought he'd say that either.
I'm only joking this, but if I was a beaver, then I would be thinking, gosh, I wish I could have a taste of that pencil again.
What's
the pencil thing?
I don't know.
Fish and pencils.
And of course, this scene was actually just a small piece of snow, and you were staring at a big green screen.
I remember you asking us to work out like the trigonometry and the height of
Well,
the
yeah, I think that came from
castle
Georgie actually asking me how tall it was, and then
Cheers, Georgie.
and I said I think as tall as the Sky Tower. And she knew how tall that was. It was like 328 meters or something.
Yeah.
And then you said, how high should we look? And I
It was
said, well,
actually
you know
327.
trigonometry.
You work it out.
You figure it out. And you did. You actually sat down and you worked it out
Really?
on paper and told me, okay, if we're this number of meters away, we're looking up at this
Clearly,
angle.
I was in the wrong
It
job.
was actually it was actually 327.
I have a feeling mine's just guesswork.
I know mine was.
Well,
I
it
think
was
I
meant
said,
to look at
I think
the
I said,
entire
put an X up there.
Exactly.
No, I think I'm really mad with you because that "stop it" is my only shouting line in the whole film, and I had 2 other lines.
You know
which
what?
were
When
even
we
more
shot
shouting.
this scene, you were really mad at me. And I think this was because we'd just done we did the scene right after, I think one of the scenes where you had to cry, and you were really mad and you were bullying me.
I remember at one scene.
No, Andrews were
Anyone
really
who
making
knows
of this
that
film.
Andrew was in charge of the shoot. Actually, Georgie ran the show.
I was barely hanging
I
on.
remember that when we did that stone table, I don't know whether it was a stone table, but I got really mad at you after that.
You did. I think it was this scene because I remember calling Nikki, my wife, and saying, I'm being bullied by a 9-year-old.
Help.
Help
I'm
me.
getting
And,
counselling.
and Nikki carefully replied, I'm being bullied by a 1-year-old.
And what were you saying, Andrew?
What was I saying?
Yeah, you were like, you started off and you kind of like wandered off into something else.
No, it was just that was a surprisingly difficult scene. I think it was just one of those scenes and maybe it was because you had to all be angry at each other in the scene and you sort of stayed in that moment. I just remember it being one of the most tense scenes we had to shoot.
Yeah, and I think
Everyone was grumpy with each other.
Also, it was. I think in the.
Oh
Do you
God,
wanna go,
sorry.
Scans?
In this bit, it was so funny because I had the snow machine pelting down. I think and you can see a little bit of snow. And at first, they had on full power. And it was going all up my nose, and I was just coughing and coughing for the entire thing. And
Oh, that's because you were lying down and the snow was falling on your
Yeah.
face. Yeah.
The wolf looks so realistic, it's amazing. Really, really amazing.
Did you ever consider
can't
using
remember
real
doing that.
wolves with Skander?
We tried to actually, but unfortunately his
Attach-
mother wouldn't let us.
Oh right,
Attach
yeah.
pieces of meat to him.
Yeah. We made
No,
him actually
Scanners were hurt
a
during the
meat
making of
suit
this film.
under his coat.
Right,
I thought
yeah.
if we just released him in the wild and let the wolves go, we'd get some good action. But
Some organic reactions.
yeah, exactly.
This set was amazing.
Beautiful.
did you guys visit it?
Yeah.
I didn't.
That's because it's at this point in the movie that you guys kind of split up.
Yeah.
I mean,
this
suddenly
is-
Skander was
We
off on his
started
own a lot of the
missing-
time. Yeah.
Missing
I
Scandi.
never saw this set.
I don't
Really?
know how much Skander missed us actually. You seem quite.
Not at all. That was cool.
I remember getting really upset at one point because I was like, I miss Skander.
I know.
And then I got really upset.
I feel so loved.
But
And then
we
I got
hugged him
upset
and it
when
was all
William
okay.
left, and I was like, I miss Skander and Will. Because I've been apart from. Look at you smiling.
As
Tilda's gonna write that
this is the
smug
one,
grin
so the
right
one
off your
shots
face.
of me that I actually like.
Wait here.
The set was a challenge for both Roger and Don. I mean, partly because it was all, built out of fiberglass and so on, and it was a huge build. And then lighting it was a real challenge. We wanted to make it look like the light was refracting around in ice. So Don basically used every KinoFlow, which is a type of fluorescent light. Every KinoFlow available in Australasia was on this set.
Wow.
It was quite amazing to walk onto as a set because
Yeah.
you walked in kind of
Very-
blinded by this.
Yeah.
I love saying that Will was stupid. I loved saying that. That was so fun.
But the irony is.
Oh, look at the terror in his face.
And then, of course,
Oh.
there's all the cold breath coming out of your mouth, Skander.
Even though I was sweating. At the
Yes,
time.
exactly. All the breath that was actually ironically done in Guatemala, one of the few places where they've probably never seen their own breath.
Oh, James is coming up. Oh, I feel so sorry for James.
What?
Not for Skander. It's for James in the prison.
This is about the point where Edmund realised he kind of
This
screwed
is
up.
Realize she's not the nice person. Here's the last kind of hope maybe she is, and then it's like no.
How was it doing the scene? Because you knew Tilda a little bit by then. But
Oh, and also in this one, at the beginning, my voice broke. Can you, if you notice it, my voice is a lot hoarser, and that day I was going mental for the cough sweets.
Even do that.
Oh, I did bring them halfway. They're at the little house at the dam with the beavers.
Well, I suppose you're not a total loss then, are you?
I was wondering, could I maybe have some more Turkish delight now?
Our guest is hungry.
This way for your num-nums.
Morgan?
You know what to do.